Welcome, They Think It's All Sober, the superstar with the best shoes in the game.
Thank you so
Rio.
much. I feel like I need to get the shoes in now.
You contacted me a couple of months ago about a sort of project that you were working on, and asked if we could have a chat, which we did. And I was like, holy shit, this is really, really interesting. So we will come on to that in a minute. But I think what is, I guess, to kind of put a disclaimer out at the start of this episode, is that you are on here as someone that's sober curious, and coming from a place of non-problematic drinking. So congratulations.
Thank you.
You're not a fuck up like the rest of us.
I mean, some of my friends may beg to differ, but no, I'm joking.
But yeah, basically tell us about what you're up to this year. I think it's very exciting.
So I think just as I get older, I'm way more health conscious and curious around like what things do to my body.
Mm-hmm.
And I had this idea for a documentary where I basically put things to trial, because there's so much information now of what's good for you, what's bad for you. And it's all kind of like, there's a huge juxtaposition of things that work and things that don't. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to test them out. And then my first one, because it's the most relatable one, was what happens to my body if I give up alcohol for 30 days? And I keep everything else balanced, but I just give up alcohol. How does that change my health? So that was the first one we did, hence the reason I contacted you. Mm-hmm. And it was really drastic. I mean, we can get more into all of the details. And then I'm doing that now for so many different things. So right now I'm on the carnivore diet. And
wow.
Yeah.
How's that been?
It's been 6 days and it is like fucking intense.
Do you
Can I swear?
Go for it.
Absolutely
Okay, fine.
fucking swear.
Yeah.
I get told off. Actually, I got a DM once saying that someone was listening to this in the car with their 12-year-old, and they were like, "You swear so much." I was like, "I talk about doing cocaine." Like, I think swearing's at least swearing's at least your problems. But yeah, how's that? Because my cousin did that as a weight loss journey, and he said it was actually really fascinating, but felt it was unsustainable.
So, I mean, as I said, I'm 6 days in, and the research that I've done, there's two sides. So there's people that really love it. And I would say that what I've seen so far is that men's bodies can handle it better.
Right.
Females, it's a little bit of a different kind of, like, there's been a different result. Hence the reason I'm doing it, because I don't think there's information out there that you see the stats of what it actually does. We just see it as like a fad, and then we do it, and it could actually really damage us. So I'm the guinea pig. I don't know why I'm doing this to myself.
So how many of these series are you doing, or how many different things are you doing?
I think I'm going to do around 6 first, like back to back.
6 months.
So 6 months. So the first one was no booze. All of them as well I won't be drinking on, because I feel like that's a consistent level. No booze, then it's carnivore, then I'm doing cold water. Then I'm meditating for 30 minutes in the morning and 30 minutes in the night to run tests to see if it actually changes our body makeup. Mm-hmm. Then I'm doing saunas, I'm doing vegan, so maybe even more than that.
You're going to come out like some kind of incredible guru. We'll just speak to you next time and you'll be like, welcome to this. By the end of it, you'll just levitate, you'll be like, welcome to my documentary series.
But I'm just fascinated because, again, you see things online and it's like, this is good for you. You will feel better if you do this. And then we don't do it. Maybe because it's just, in our mind, we know, it could help us, but I don't actually really know the benefits. Like, I don't know what it actually does for me, so I'm not going to give it a go. So I want to kind of try all these things to give people the data to say, look, this is how it can help your mind. This is how it can help your body. This is how it can help all of these things. Or this is how it could damage it.
Yeah.
So just be careful.
That's amazing, because I think we're also guilty of consuming clickbait information on Instagram. And every day, especially now Instagram just serves you shit that you're not even following, right? So every day it'll be like, try this thing, try this thing, try this will do good for you. We actually just had a guest on that was saying that she'd read a study about how wine helps you live longer and XYZ. And it's like, no one really knows outside of like a few little data points. So it's so fascinating that someone's actually taking the time to be like, right, I'm going to sacrifice myself to this. But it's true. I mean, it's a fucking long process, right? To do.
And I think like I'm going to start with 30 days and then maybe I'll go longer, because I think 30 days is such a short space of time in the grand scheme of things. But if things can change drastically in 30 days, it's a good marker point.
Yeah.
But maybe I do it for even longer. So it would be fascinating, right? Because you guys have given up booze for so long now. Imagine if you did it at the beginning to where you are now.
Yeah.
I kind of wish I had. I think I was probably too scared to go and get a full body MOT on like day one of like.
Also, it's humbling.
Yeah.
It's so humbling. I thought I was healthy. I go in and the doctor was like, nah, you're not this. And I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, I did one. I can't remember what it was called. It was about 5 or 6 years ago, and I paid about 700 quid for it. And unfortunately, the company's gone under now. But funnily enough, I found the PDF the other day, and it was from my like sesh partying chaos days, and my body health was at 41%.
Wow.
Yeah, it was awful. It was all red, and I was maybe 3.5 stone heavier. But it's funny because we talk about this all the time. That wasn't enough of a sort your fucking life out. It still took me a few years to do it, but I'm trying to find a company now to do it. Hence why I was intrigued about who's done it for yours. So I'd love to have a comparison to be like, mine will probably be like 39%. I'm like, damn it, this guy. But it's funny, isn't it? Because like again, privileged enough to be able to pay for something like that. I'm aware of that, but we often don't know what's going on in our bodies. But there is technology there now to help us understand our bodies more and do things to hopefully live a better and healthier life.
Yeah, for sure.
So I guess what's probably useful is to get an understanding, I suppose, of your like drinking habits prior to this. So what's a sort of like normal month look like for you in terms of how often did you drink? If you were drinking, what would you drink?
Yeah.
That kind of stuff.
So I would say I'm going to say in like the last year, it's changed a lot for me. But before then, I would say I was a way bigger binge drinker than I am now. Mm-hmm. So I didn't drink a lot. Like I don't ever drink at home. And sometimes if I go out in the week for dinner or something, I'll have like a glass of wine or a couple of drinks and then be done. But it was the nights that I would go like out. And then I would drink and I could like party all the way through the night. And that kind of slowed down, I would say, in the last year. Mm-hmm. And so before I started doing these trials, I would say maybe 1 or 2 fairly big nights a month, and then a few casual drinks here and there. But yeah, it's definitely less than it ever has been. Yeah. But I've never ever taken like proper time out. Mm-hmm. You know? Yeah. So it's always been there, that little crutch.
As a crutch, like what does or did alcohol give you? Was it confidence? Was it strength? Was it fun? Like when you have those first 3 or 4 drinks and you're out and about, like what are you feeling?
I always just related it to fun. Mm-hmm. So I always thought that I was more fun, or I liked being identified as like the party girl, you know, the girl that's always up for a good time. And I thought that alcohol enhanced that. But having given it up, even just for a short period of time, I realized it couldn't be further from the truth. Yeah. You know, like on reflection, like looking at my behavior on nights out, I'm way better when I'm sober. But I've never realized that because I never gave myself the chance to see it any different.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's interesting, isn't it? Because I think my drinking career of 15 years or so, I always was like, oh, I'm so much more fun. Everyone loves me more. I'm like the center of attention, etc. And then when you stop drinking or you take a step back, and actually some of those people that are maybe on the peripheral of the fun, not the ones at the center with you, are actually like, dude, you know what? Like, no, like you're so much better now. But it's difficult because at the time you're like, yeah, I'm the guy.
Yeah. Well, I think it's because you've never done it any different, right? So like, if you've always been out for a few drinks, that's kind of the only way people see you in that scenario. You've never given them an option to see you without it. So we always just believe that that's the only version of ourselves that we can be on a night out. Yeah. And then you remove it. And this is what I've realized over this last month. I've got way better energy. I show up way nicer. I have meaningful conversations. I remember things, and people like me even more. I like myself even more. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I just think we don't give ourselves that option.
It is true, actually, isn't it? Because like, I suppose the older you get, the less you get to socialize with like people that are your friends. And generally, when you do make the time to socialize, it generally involves drinking. Yeah. And so you're right, I guess a lot of people don't actually get to converse with maybe the real you on nights out. Yeah. So it's interesting. And certainly, I mean, that was our kind of biggest fear, certainly for me when stopping drinking, was that fear of like judgment from people. Yeah. Going, 1, are they going to judge me for not drinking? But 2, are they even going to like me? Because I've been putting on this like, you know, persona for so long that you're like, shit, what if nobody likes me anymore? Yeah. So yeah, it was quite terrifying.
It's also coming to terms with, my girlfriend says something quite apt to me the other day because she's sort of observed 2 of my 3 years of sobriety. And she said, you know what the biggest change she's noticed in me is? And I was going to be like, oh, so much fitter. She was like, your FOMO's gone. She was like, when we first met, I was like, oh, no one invites me anywhere anymore. Like, people don't want to hang out with me, whatever. And she's like, now you're just so comfortable in it. And I think that was such a big thing when you quit drinking. You're like, no one's going to want me anywhere. And it's like, if they don't, fuck them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But also, you usually, when you remove something that you've involved in your life for so long that makes you feel like the fun one, or like that makes you feel like you're funner than you actually are, and you remove it for a while, you find new things that you find fun.
Yeah.
So I thought, because I've always thought about like going out on the weekend, that's my way of having fun, and that's all I've ever done. When you take the drinking away, it's like, oh, actually, I find going and doing a class on a Saturday morning really fun. And then I really like having lunch with my friend after. Like, I find that really fun. But it's because I think I've always looked forward to like the night out.
Yeah.
That I didn't prioritize anything else. When you move your priorities, so much else becomes fun.
And did you find that, I think the thing I was the most guilty of was I actually liked looking forward to the night more than I did the night. So it was almost like the adrenaline build up, like getting the drinks from the offie, like going to someone's for pre-drinks. That bit was sick. And then leaving the house was like, oh, I'm not sure I like this anymore. Yeah. And then it's 4 a.m. and the birds are tweeting, and like we all know where that goes. But I loved the adrenaline of the thought process of the night out, but maybe not the actual night.
I started to feel that towards when I started changing my drinking habits, even like a year ago. I realized that these nights out weren't fun anymore. I was like, I'm here, yeah, fine. It's the same shit, it's a different week. And I'm like, I don't actually find this that fun. But I'm still doing it because like, all my friends are doing it. It's the only thing I feel like I know how to do on the weekend.
Was it quite routine for you, like same places, same people, same vibes?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly that. And then I think that was also at a time as well where I was working 6 days a week, and I've never really had like a 9 to 5. And I mean, I was on the radio, so it's very different, but it's also, you have to be there. And I was there 6 days a week. And then the one night a week that I had off where I didn't have radio the next day, that kind of felt like me like, oh, this is my release, you know? Yeah. And then I realized that even that's quite an unhealthy thing, that I'm probably overworking myself to a place where I don't have enough free time, and I'm looking to like escape what has been, because I feel like I want to do more with my time, but I don't have enough time. So, let me just drink through it, you know?
Yeah.
And I see it now, I think, with people who do work these kind of 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, they get to the weekend and then that's kind of all they know how to do because it's in their routine. Yeah. And then it's like, back to Monday, you know? And let's do it all again. So it's we can't expect our lives to change or our feelings or mindset to change if we keep ourselves in the same routine.
100%. Well, nothing changes if nothing changes.
Exactly.
So here we are.
I'm going to get that tattooed.
Yeah.
Nothing changes if nothing changes.
If nothing changes, if nothing changes. So I think we should get into a little bit of the science and stuff. So
yes.
So you went for, what was it, like a full body MOT?
So I had a full body MOT where they did my bloods, a urine sample, and then they've got this new machine that scans your muscle tissue, which can tell you all of your vitamin levels, the heavy metals in your body, how your body detoxes, your cognitive function, your fat, your body fat, your skin, how your skin ages, your hair, your nails. Like, it literally tells you everything. And when I went for the first one, so this is at a point where I'm drinking way less than I ever have done before. And I also think that I'm quite healthy. I go to the gym 4 times a week. I eat mostly, I would say, like meat, fish, and vegetables. If I do eat unhealthy, I do like tend to eat like burgers and pizza and stuff. But like, I didn't really have carbs in my diet, right? Only bad carbs. So when I had the first test results back, it turns out I'm not that healthy.
Right.
Like my skin, let me get it up because I can read it to you guys.
Oh, this is going to take me on a journey that I think I'm going to get really obsessed with.
Yeah, it was so humbling because, as I said, because I thought like, I look fairly healthy. Yeah. This is what we need to stop doing as well. When we think, I look healthy, it doesn't mean that we are healthy. Yeah. It does not mean anything. So let me show you. The doctor took me through and he was like, yeah, this is bad. Are you emotional? I'm like, yeah.
I am now, you prick.
So I'm going to show you guys like how much is bad here. So if you just have a look, like you can,
Right.
Okay,
you can flick
so-
through it and see what's bad.
Let me.
Wow. Come on, Tom, talk us through it.
So-
Let's really grill Rio here live on air.
Oxidative stress, 40.
Is this I'm assuming out of 100?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and you can just see, because if it just says bad or
red.
acceptable, just
So
say what it
stress,
is.
acceptable. Antioxidant protection, acceptable. Anti-aging skin, bad. Fragility, to correct.
To correct. Oh my
Aging
God.
condition, to correct.
Slimness. To correct. That's not okay.
But again, it's like fatty.
What?
It's like fat around your organs as well.
Right, okay. It's not
So
like...
it's not just like, oh, are you a certain size?
Right.
Oh, God, your joints.
Hair and nails.
Falling apart.
Hair and nails, bad. Quality, bad. Joints, flexibility, acceptable. Tissue repair, bad. Acid base balance, bad.
Oh, my
So
God.
you can see, you get the gist that everything's bad.
No, let's keep going. Detox, bad.
Metabolic overload, acceptable. Overall intoxication, bad. Digestion,
My overall intoxication was good for many years.
to correct.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
To mental condition,
Mental condition. They're like fucked.
acceptable.
Acceptable.
39. General balance, natural defenses, to correct. Cardiovascular, to correct. Hormonal balance, to correct. Predisposition for allergies, good.
Yeah.
Good, no
That's
hay
what
fever.
He went, you have one good, the doctor. And I said, what is it? And he said, you had no allergies. I was like, great.
Okay, and then there's like a chart.
So
at the
that's the
bottom.
graph. And
Right.
then the graph's quite good. So with this, if you do the edit, it's
Yeah,
really
yeah.
good to see the graphs next to each other, because you see how much just giving up alcohol adjusts that
Nice.
graph.
Yeah, we'll have to see if we can get the graphs off you, if we can use
Yeah,
it
of
for socials,
course.
if that's cool.
And now I'll show you with 1 month booze free. So is it this one? Sorry, that's my heart. My heart was good, so that's a bonus. Here you go. So some of them still look bad, but I'll let you read through. And maybe if you even just go to the graph, like look at how much the
Oh,
graph
wow.
has changed. So you can, of course, look through those.
Yeah.
But
So-
the graph has changed drastically and everything's improved.
Oh, no, you can, there's so much less red.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I think we'll have to put some of this data up
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we can actually see it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, everything seems to be.
Interestingly, the digestion one has gone up
Yeah.
drastically.
Yeah, so digestion seems to be one of the biggest changes, right?
Yeah. Digestion, and I think the anti-aging as well, which I think is important because everyone's so obsessed with like their skin and aging
Yeah. Oh,
now.
yeah, Christ.
That-
That went
Wow.
from 27 to 68.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that is literally 30 days of no alcohol. And the only other things I adjusted was added more whole grains to my diet.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's amazing. Show me that graph. Show me that graph.
Graph is like-
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's literally jumped.
Yeah.
So basically,
Complete, is that right?
everything, I think everything improved drastically from digestion to mental condition,
Yeah.
general balance, oxidative stress, anti-aging skin, and joints. So pretty much, yeah,
Yeah.
huge change across the board.
Yeah. And even like the hair and the nails and stuff like that, it didn't jump in where it should be, but everything's improving.
Yeah.
Right.
Everything's improving.
And that's 30 days.
And that's 30 days.
That's 30 days.
That's literally 30 days.
So let's talk about it sort of away from the science and then into the science. So for
Yeah.
you as someone who maybe had slightly readjusted their relationship with alcohol, but then sort of committed to this bit, what changes did you feel and see before you saw the results?
So I felt I feel so much better. I feel so much better. And I remember the first weekend I had out where I wasn't drinking, but I was still trying to, for the documentary, do everything that I would usually do. So I didn't restrict my life in any way. It wasn't like I was just going to sit in the house for 30 days and wait for it to be over. I went out and I went to a friend's single launch, Ariel's, and she did like this big boat party. Now, all of my friends were getting absolutely smashed. And I turned up and I had that feeling in my stomach of, whoa, this is out of my comfort zone, you know? I just want to get a drink. And I went and got an alcohol-free beer. The Corona 0% are my favourite.
Beautiful.
So nice.
They're the most
fresh lime.
accurate to the regular ones.
bang on, aren't they?
Yeah, so delicious. And I had one of those and I thought, I eased in. I think it took me half an hour. Eased in, was completely fine. I was then on the dance floor the whole day. And it was that moment that something clicked for me, that I realised I don't need alcohol to be out with people drinking alcohol or to have a good time. And I needed to test myself that day to see how it made me feel. And that was for me, once I'd got over that, because I guess that was the first time that I was in that situation where people were boozing around me, it felt great. It felt great. I just had to overcome that first 30 minutes. So for anyone I feel like who is thinking about doing it, it's put yourself in these situations, have support there, and just see how it feels, you know, like really test it out, see how it feels, because you will get over that hurdle of like, huh. And if you don't, you can go home. You can go home. You can leave it. If it feels too uncomfortable, you don't have to stay in those situations. You know what I mean? But that felt really amazing. And then I danced all day, then went to see FKA Twigs. But by 10 p.m, I was like, I'm done. I need to go to bed. I have danced so hard. I woke up the next morning, ran a 10K, which is the first time I've run a 10K in about 3 years.
Amazing.
And I was just, my energy was so good. And it was that moment that I was like, I get it. I get why people do it. And then as the month progressed, I enjoyed it. I didn't find it hard in the weeks, because for me, I don't drink in the weeks anyway. And on the weekends, I actually went and immersed myself in like some sober cultures as well. Some sober communities in the UK. So I went to a sober rave.
Nice.
It's like gay sober rave called Club Susie's, where everyone was like absolutely having it on the dance floor in a dark, dingy room in Electroworks, completely sober.
I love that.
And it was really
Sick.
cool. So mentally, I think it was so great. I also would love to say that towards the end of the month, I was having like a really hard time in personal life. Like there were certain things coming up, just due to like relationship, and not drinking through it was one of the best experiences that I've had going through things like that, because I felt things as they were. Nothing felt distorted. Also, I didn't run away from anything. I faced it head on. And I realized that over my life, when things get tough or emotions come up that are maybe uncomfortable, I usually do something to distract myself.
Yeah.
And not having distractions was obviously painful, at certain points. However, once I felt them, I could release them. Whereas if I suppressed them, I would probably have like a way bigger pile of emotions to deal with at some point.
Yeah.
And I think because drinking is so accepted, it's really easy to do it to avoid.
Yeah, and I think often I found in previous relationship in particular, when I was sober and my partner at the time wasn't, or vice versa, a lot of the time the difficult conversations would happen when one person had had a drink and the other person hadn't, and you end up in this really weird environment where you're like, hey, maybe this isn't the right time to talk about this because you've had a few drinks, and it was like, I'm not drunk, and you end up in this thing, and your thought processes, even though you want it to be like a nice, pure, meaningful conversation, can be emotionally skewed, because even one or two drinks can just like skew how you're viewing a situation, or something can just flare up.
And it alters your state. You're not speaking how you would speak without that, right? Even if it is just 2 drinks. But it could be, we also sometimes have to look into the reason why we need a drink to say certain things. You know, why are we not comfortable doing it without? Yeah.
That's taken a while to like, I suppose, to kind of come to terms with that. Actually, you do have to deal with stuff like, you know, I was quite bad with it. I would do the same. You know, if there was a awkward or complicated situation, it probably wouldn't be until I'd had a few drinks to be able to come out, and you remove that, and you have to be able to kind of like, it's like facing your fears, really, isn't it? And then dealing with it, and you know, especially dealing with like trauma or dealing with death and everything else, it's very acute. And it's probably tougher on the face of it, but then the benefit is that you are actually dealing with it.
Yeah, and you're not suppressing it. And also I think it just, you grow as a person when you can do things like in your honesty and like just as you are, without needing anything external to soften the situation. You just learn more about yourself, right? And you learn how you show up better in this world. And I think that's so important, like, because then you're growing and learning how to deal with things differently. So I think it's so important.
Yeah,
so important.
100%. So with the rest of the, I guess, like the challenges you're doing, you're not drinking throughout them. I guess by the end of it, if every single one you do shows remarkable benefits, where does that leave you?
The thing is, I don't feel like they will all, because there's like now doing the carnivore, this is so extreme, but also this is not enjoyable. So even if this turned me into Superwoman, my life restricting myself this much wouldn't be worth it.
Got you.
In terms of like food, because it's tough.
Yeah.
It's so tough. And it's fucking expensive. Yeah. Bro, I spent £40 on meat yesterday. I've basically eaten most of it.
I was going to say, like, what are you having for breakfast?
So I had 4 boiled eggs before coming here today. Farts must be delightful.
What's for lunch?
I'll probably, because I'm eating out, so it'll probably be, like, I'll go somewhere and get steak.
Steak and
just have like the biggest
just steak.
Just steak.
Yeah.
And you have to ask them to cook it in butter. Yeah, I know, like you're just saying, it is. And like yesterday I ate, you have to eat like offal as well, because that holds like the most vitamins. So I had liver yesterday. Now I like liver and bacon, or like with gravy and things like that.
Yeah.
We used to have it when I was a kid. Just eating liver
ones.
on its own is the most rotten thing
I was going to say, like, I held real beautiful nostalgia to like liver and bacon with mash and gravy and onions, but I can imagine, just liver on a plate for like Hannibal Lecter.
No, and because we're filming loads of stuff, I'm like, you're like filming me eating it. I'm not enjoying it. So I think what I will find with these challenges is the reason that I'm doing them is just so we are aware of what can improve our health or damage our health, and also like what's the stake of doing it, you know? Mm-hmm. At the end of this, I feel like the giving up alcohol, there was only benefits.
Yeah.
There was only benefits, and I really enjoyed it. The other ones, I don't think I'm gonna fully enjoy all of them. Like the cold water, I think I will, because I love that and it makes me feel good. But I actually don't know if that's really good on the female body, especially like with our hormone cycle. But that's what I'll be testing. But yeah, even at the end of it, I guess I'll find my favorite parts from all of these things. And if they help me, I'll try and orchestrate them in a way that works for my life. And I think, I mean, everyone says it, I think it will be balance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. So when you did your month off the booze and then you went and got your test results, how did you feel with that? Did you feel like it correlated with how you actually felt, and kind of what was the doctor's thought process, or did they give you any sort of like scientific sort of overview of what's gone on?
I mean, as you can see from the graph, everything, not only did my mental state and like how I actually felt in my body throughout that month change, all of my health improved so drastically. And he just said, of course, like you got to think of like when you do drink, the cycle that comes. So you're drinking loads of sugar, you're drinking loads of calories. You're also probably not eating enough food, or you're eating the wrong kinds of food. You're then not getting sleep. You're then the next day hungover, so probably not moving your body that much. Everything has a knock-on effect. Now, if you're doing that 4 times a month, every weekend, say, imagine how that looks over your life. Yeah. And if 30 days for me doing it with no booze can change my health that much, imagine how it can be the other way.
Yeah.
So imagine if you are drinking alcohol and you are in that cycle, imagine how much it can deteriorate your health.
Yeah.
That's mad, so isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, we always talk about this thing of like, I won't tell the same story because I feel like we tell it a million times, but we worked out if you drank like 3 times a week, 4 times a week, which some people do even just casually, you actually spend the same amount of period drunk as you do hungover.
Yeah.
And actually, at what point do you ever feel normal? Do you ever feel normal? Because you're always in some way recovering. And I think even like you said with the people that work Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, like that idea of them mad Friday night, mad Saturday night, maybe a Sunday sesh watching the football, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday you feel like shit, Thursday you start to feel better, and then Friday you're back at it again. Yeah. Your body's never really at a base level. And if you do that for 15, 20 years,
just on the roller coaster.
Yeah, it's like, and look, it's no judgment. Like, you know, I had a lot of fun doing it, but like, you have to think about the long-term effects of where that leaves us.
Well, I've got it here as since I've been sober, which is now apparently 1,173 days.
That's so good.
It says I've basically inputted what I was like roughly drinking per week, and it reckons in that 3 years and whatever it is, 3 years, 2 months and something, that I've save 645,000 calories.
645,000 calories. Wow. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to say pounds. I was like, what are you drinking?
My money one was not good because I was spending my money on a lot of things other than booze.
Yeah.
My money one is crazy.
I think I've probably saved, I would say probably about 20 grand a year.
God, that's mad, isn't it?
When you think about it.
Well, that's the thing as well, because when you're drunk or drinking, that 20-minute walk home is easier in an Uber. Or that, like, you might go home and be like, oh, I've got food in the fridge, I can make that. No, that becomes a 30 quid Deliveroo.
Yeah.
So actually, it's not just the spending 50 quid on pints on a night out or 50 quid on something else. It's then like getting home, like the food the next. I was a nightmare for like the Sunday takeaway.
Yeah, me too.
As soon as it opened.
Me too.
Midday,
Ubers
boom.
back from London as well, after like being on the sesh or gigs or whatever it was, I'd just be like, no, I'm getting an Uber home.
Well, yeah, because you couldn't get on the train. Do you know what I mean? That would be the biggest fear of like, getting a train
Someone
home.
might see me.
No, I'd rather spend 140 quid on an Uber.
Yeah.
Like 2-3 nights a week sometimes. It's like nuts.
And also, I feel like everyone who has drank in their life, when you are a few drinks in, it feels like money doesn't exist. I feel like that's a very common feeling where you're just like, don't worry, I'll get this. And it's just
It then just becomes a concept rather than an actual tangible amount in your bank. You're like, yeah, whatever.
And the fear the next day, like, shall I go on my online banking? No,
like,
probably shouldn't.
fuck.
Yeah.
It's so
It's
true.
happening again. Oh my God.
I think in my 20s, I honestly thought I was someone I wasn't, because I was just like, like boom, 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 boom. But it all comes back to that thing we spoke about at the beginning of like trying to be liked and wanting to be a different person. And like ultimately now, I'd just be like, oh, no, I don't want to do that. Why would I buy these people I've just met a 75 quid round? If I like them enough, sure, I'll do that still, no stress. But like,
why?
What was I trying to achieve by being this person that no one expected me to be apart from me?
Yeah.
It's really peculiar.
But I guess we're always finding that out as well, you know. I think like this journey through life of like understanding who we are and what we want and how we want to show up, and that not caring if people like us, it's really hard because no one teaches you how to do that. And we kind of get thrown into this world, especially all of us working in the industry that we do, that there's like norms of how things go down, you know? You go out, you network, you drink. No one really teaches you to do it any different. And then that has different extremes, yeah? You can do it in the casual sense or you can do it in the extreme sense. And it's really easy to get caught up in that. But I don't think that in our industry, there's a world that exists where you just go out and socialize sober. Is it because now it's becoming more common, but I feel like when we first was introduced to this industry, it was a very rare thing.
Yeah, no
It did not
chance.
exist. And we were saying that earlier, like I felt like so much of my work in my early 20s, mid 20s was sadly like formed around pubs, kitchen tables. Relationships were built in those environments. And it's a shame because it really should not be the case.
But it did.
But it did. And like, I don't look back at that with any regret, because ultimately it got me to where I am now, which is in a beautiful place. But I wouldn't say that was solely to do with booze, but the connections were often built in that environment.
Yeah.
Which is weird. How was it for you in sort of radio culture with that? Because like you say, your hours were interesting.
Yeah.
What time of the shows were you doing?
I mean, I did various over the years. So when I first started, I did overnights on Friday and Saturday. I did 1 a.m. till 5 a.m.
Wow.
Friday, Saturday nights for 2 years. It was extreme, but again, in a way, that stopped me from going out that much.
True.
So I like on occasion I would go out before my show and have a couple of drinks, but you just learnt very quickly that wasn't a wise idea, because you'd get to 3 a.m. and think,
like
fuck,
fucked, yeah.
how am I supposed to do this? So then you just make the choice not to, you know? So my week was weird. And I guess it meant that I went out I went out more in the weekdays, but again, not many people are around. So if anything, I'm quite grateful that probably kept me on the straight and narrow as much as it could. Then I started doing Capital Dance Breakfast, which was 7 till 11, which meant that I feel like my weekends were pretty boozy then.
How are the Monday mornings though?
Yeah, the Monday mornings.
What time would you have to be in? Like 5?
No, I'd probably get in for like 6.
Right, okay.
6. But yeah, again, I never got to the point where there was obviously a few nights where I had a big night before my show and it just felt like hell. Like I remember being at the Brits and I went all the way through from the Brits, and I had to go straight on Capital Dance Breakfast. And I remember being like, this is the worst thing I have ever done. And you just learn that you don't want to feel like that. So it happened on occasion, but it definitely didn't happen rare, because it's just not nice. It's not enjoyable. And then I did 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. So that was a beautiful time.
Bit more sociable.
But I would also say I didn't really get involved too much in work drinks, but there definitely was a very boozy culture. Yeah. At work, but I didn't really get involved in it that much. So mine was only just really with my friends, which for me I think was a good thing. Yeah, because I finished at 1 p.m. I wasn't going to wait until people finished work to go for a drink. Yeah, that's true. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So yeah, my work, I think it was just more work events. So like we've both done one of the balls together. They're very boozy. As soon as they finish, everyone's like, right, party, let's go, you know. So,
that was insane. I actually had rolled over from the night before for the Jingle Bell Ball.
To perform at the O2?
Yeah, and me and Sam were in the lift coming up, and I looked at him, I went, what have we done?
Babe.
I remember you said, was that like the most, did you say that's the most anxious you've ever been before a performance?
Yeah, I think so. About to come up for a lift in the floor at the O2 and you haven't slept and you just see these like phone lights at the top. So yeah, I do remember seeing you. I think I was in a different planet.
Babe, bless you.
And again,
don't bless him. It's his own fault.
Because there's like it's a shitload of PR you have to do before the ball. He's obviously doing all the interviews, all of the stuff, and us there just like me and Sam look at each other like, oh, what have we done?
Babe.
But again, it was normalised. And I think that's the thing now. And that wasn't even that long ago. And I do think the beauty of these sort of conversations now is like, people are willing to have conversations and be like, do you know what? Like, fair play if you do it. But actually, if it doesn't serve you and it's not good for you, and we talk about it all the time. Like, I wanted to quit 3 or 4 years, maybe 5, before I had the courage to do so. Yeah. So now, whether it's this podcast or books or your documentary or whatever it is, someone can feel and see something in themselves. It's like, oh, maybe I will just try a month. Yeah. Because I did what you did. I did a month. And then after I did a month, I was like, wow. Like, I just was like, the world opened up. Yeah. And then for me, that's now, I think, forever. But, you know, for someone else, it might just be a month, and then it might change their relationship with alcohol for the rest of the time. And that's a really beautiful thing.
And that is why I think that people should be open to trying it, to just see how it feels, because it could change your life. And it might not. And if it doesn't, there doesn't have to be a label on it. You don't have to sign a contract to say that will be you forever. You can just try these things. Like, we've got to remember, it's our life and we can do whatever we want with it. And if we tried something that made us feel better mentally and physically and also changed our health, wouldn't that be an amazing thing? You know? And then you can do it in... You can create whatever relationship you want with it, but you've just got to be open to changing what it is right now.
100%.
Yeah.
And we've said the point of this podcast wasn't for people to come and listen and just stop drinking. It was basically for people to better their relationship with alcohol. Yeah. And whatever that looks like, if someone goes from drinking 5 days a week and they go down to drinking 2 days a week, and it improves their relationship with themselves, their health, their family, and they can do that, great. You know, if it's some people that don't really drink that much and they cut it out completely and feel better for it, great. Yeah. You know, I think if people can moderate, and it's a really hard one because you have to be really honest with moderation. You have to be very open and honest with yourself to what that is and what it looks like, and if it is moderation or if it's just an acceptable amount that you think is okay, when actually it could still be detrimental to, you know, your health and everything else. But I think what's really interesting is that you having done something like this, there's like such a big shift in data from in just 30 days. And for me, I didn't start to feel any better until I was probably 100 days, and then realistically 4 or 5 months. Yeah. So having a longer stint, I would imagine, would only have like increased, you know, what those kind of data figures show. I mean, I dread to think what my thing would have been when I was like coming to the end of my drinking. But yeah, I mean, the data's there, and I think for anyone that's like listening, that's considering it, just try 30 days. 100%. If you're sober curious, give it a go. What have you got to lose?
Yeah, exactly. And 30 days, it honestly went by so quick. And as I said before, it was only beneficial. Yeah. I only felt better. There was nothing in it that made me feel any worse, you know? Yeah, and that's why I think also as well, I should run this documentary where I do it for way longer, where it is just booze. So you can see how that changes. Where I'm obviously taking out and bringing in other things, it will skew everything. But it's fascinating how much it changed in that short space of time.
How do you feel, sorry Tom, how do you feel about, because you said you're probably not going to drink through the whole thing.
Yeah.
So obviously you've done a month dedicated to no booze.
Yeah.
Now that no booze is going to become a secondary thing to whatever the main thing is you're doing.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the next 6 months not drinking?
Well, we have gaps, and I, in my mind, thought to myself I would like to drink on special occasions, but I guess I'm going to see how I feel when I get there. But again, I there's no labels for me around it, because I was talking to you on the way up. I'm not going to do like 30 day and then as soon as that finishes another 30 day.
Got you.
I might do on some of them, but for things like the carnivore diet, I definitely need some time to change. So yeah, I think I'm going to go with it and see how that feels, but do things way more consciously, you know, and realize that I don't have to do anything.
Yeah. It was the power of no, right?
The power of no, yeah.
So exactly. Strong. And we'll follow you. I mean, we'll keep in touch about like all of the things you're doing, because I think people will be interested as well to know about all of the other results from like the carnivore diet and you know, certainly the other stuff, especially like the ice baths and all that. I mean, we've had so many people on that swear by it. You know, Pro Green does it a lot, doesn't he?
Matt Willis does it.
Matt Willis does it a lot. Spencer Matthews is, you know, very into his like health, fitness, all of that stuff. So, but yeah, keep us in the loop of it all. But,
for sure.
But yeah, no, thanks so much for coming on. Honestly, it's been like a real, you know, privilege to have a guest like you who's happy to talk about it, who's sober curious, who's doing things like this, because it caters to like still half our audience who are still thinking about, you know, what alcohol is and about changing relationships. So it's really important for us to have these conversations. So thank you for coming on. So we normally end the show with 3 big questions, and I actually told them to you before, but I think actually I think we'll do the first 2, and just from your experience so far, okay, single best piece of advice for anyone that's thinking about stopping drinking.
The best piece of advice is it only comes with benefits. So you have nothing to lose, give it a go.
Perfect. And in this, I suppose, fairly short tenure of not drinking, what has been the single best thing that not drinking has brought you so far?
There's quite a few. Can I run through just a few of them?
Really?
The fact that I'm feeling my feelings exactly as they are and allowing them to pass through instead of suppressing them, which has been amazing. My energy levels have just been beautiful. Like I feel fully myself, which is a nice feeling. And I don't feel like I've got that brain fog or I'm hungover. Yeah, and everything's cleared up. Like not only have I now seen that my health has completely took a beautiful turn. It's like my skin's better. I've lost like bloating around my jaw. Everything just feels, it feels good.
That's great.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And yeah, we'll stay in touch.
Thank you.
I'm very excited to see this all come out.
Yeah, me too.
Me too.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Rio.
Thank you.